morning, everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar. My name is Lauren Milojevic. I'm the Director of Marketing and Business Development at Simplify. I'm responsible for all of our lead, demand gen, webinars, and sales plays. As mentioned, today we are giving away 2 free badges to SAP Financials, which is taking place in Vegas March 19th to 21st. So we ask, if you're interested, please send us a message in the questions box, and then after the webinar, we'll let you know if you've been chosen to receive one of the free badges. So look for an email from us, and we'll be in touch. Now I'd like to introduce today's presenter and Solution Director at Simplify, Beth McBreen.
Thank you, Lauren. All right, so thanks everyone for joining the webinar. Today we are going to be talking about BPC 11, the version that is on BW for HANA, kind of understanding what the solution entails, roadmap, value proposition. We have some product comparison information. So, hopefully really focusing today on, primarily you may be an existing BPC user, customer, and looking at what's next, especially if you are currently residing on the Microsoft platform. And, what's next is BPC 11, but kind of understanding what that means, how to get, to get to that platform and so on. And hopefully today I'm going to help you with that information. Probably in the last year and a half for sure, some of our existing customers, even new customers have asked us for help with evaluating solutions, knowing that, coming up in the future that the BPC Microsoft platform will not continue, it will be in maintenance only and will be end of life support. So, anyway, the webinar today, hopefully is to help bring some clarity to what your next steps can be in terms of BPC 11. So we're going to start off with, I know we may have a mixed group of attendees today. Some may be brand new, looking at evaluating business planning and consolidation for the first time. Many of you probably are, can be existing BPC users, not only on the Microsoft platform, but the NetWeaver platform, and just trying to understand, what is the next step. So we're going to talk about why BPC, what's the value proposition behind it, what's new. For those existing BPC Microsoft users, kind of understanding what is the migration plan, right? How do we go from our on-premise solution to BPC 11 cloud deployment? We'll talk about that. And then, we have a real life example that we went through with a product comparison that we did for one of our clients. And so as time allows, we will share that as well to kind of show you what we came up with as an example. This is, like I mentioned, things, exercises and assessments that we do quite often for companies to kind of understand the product comparisons with relative EPM solutions out there in the space. So for those of you that are already using BPC, you are probably very comfortable with the fact that BPC, business planning and consolidation, solves those mission critical business processes. Some of you may be using it, full gamut, using it for planning, consolidations, forecasting. Some may only be working with financial reporting and consolidations, looking to expand into more planning. But again, for those of you that may be new to BPC, one of the key tenets, one of the pure benefits of business planning and consolidation is the fact that you can have unified solution with planning and consolidations in one solution. So companies some that will handle their planning and their forecasting, not just at a data entry level, but more at a driver-based level for planning, for sales planning, CapEx, salary, headcount planning. All of those type of things could be done, like I said, not just as a budget entry, but more of a driver-based plan. Same with forecasting. Obviously, it handles the consolidations, management consolidations, legal consolidations. And again, what ties the two together are financial reporting, our analysis. So again, for those of you that are new, those are really the four main quadrants or main components of BPC. That doesn't change. That doesn't change from the earlier versions of BPC to what BPC 11 is going to provide to you as well. And when we look at BPC 11 and kind of what value proposition, we've got a number of different bullet points on this slide. And many of them, again, carry forward. So for those of you that are existing users, you understand that obviously it's the unified planning and consolidation lends to a definitely reduction in kind of total cost of ownership for the solution. So a lot of these bullet points or points that are highlighted in blue really kind of, they're there in earlier versions, as well as if you're just exploring BPC 11 today. These are things like the simplified data integration, flexible financial planning, faster time to close, moving from several days to a couple days to actually close and consolidate your financials. All of those have been proven successes really with using the BPC solution. Couple of the items highlighted in red are really those that when I look at moving from maybe an existing BPC Microsoft platform or NetWeaver for that matter to SAP BW for HANA or BPC 11 version, what are some additional what am I gaining? What are the differences? And one would be the enhanced visualization. So one of the things that BPC 11 does have is a little bit more of the visualization on the web interface. And if we have time, I can click over to show you a couple views of that. I'm not sure if I'll have time or not, but typically it's within the web interface. Even more so though, and what I want to focus on in this webinar is its integration with the Analytics Cloud product that SAP provides. And so I have another slide in here that will talk a little bit more about it, but really Analytics Cloud is SAP's go forward BI solution, cloud-based solution, being able to have all the visualizations, the dashboards, planning. So all of that is really nice when you can still leverage BPC 11 as really a centralized finance operation where Analytics Cloud can then be your extension of your visualizations or of your financial information, help with planning processes. So we'll talk about that, but with BPC 11 and Analytics Cloud, the integration that works between there, and again, being able to leverage the visualization is certainly a benefit as you move forward into your BPC platform. Probably the number one that users have experienced moving on to BPC 11, maybe from an existing Microsoft platform, is the performance. And, not that, I feel like in the BPC Microsoft world, there's limitations. There may be limitations to the number of dimension members we put into a dimension because we may have built those dimensions at a higher level than we really wanted. Maybe we wanted that level of detail in BPC, but there's limitations and the model sometimes couldn't handle it. What you're experiencing with SAP BW for HANA is you're leveraging that power of the HANA platform, the HANA database, which allows you to have dimensions that have several, hundreds of thousands of members versus, a couple thousand. So again, the performance aspect, we'll talk about a little bit more there, but is certainly one of the biggest benefits that you're gaining with moving from an existing, BPC over onto the BPC 11 platform. It's cloud ready and integrated. So, if your company has a cloud strategy with Azure, with AWS, it certainly works with that and is, again, cloud deployed. So we'll talk a little bit later about what that means in terms of, less technical resources, not having to support things on-prem, things of that nature as well. So again, those are kind of a couple of the, what I would call the key areas that you're seeing when you're still getting all the same benefits, the Excel interface, the EPM add-in not changing, right? So when you're looking at moving from an older version of BPC to BPC 11, it's not a huge learning curve. Your users are able to, they probably won't even recognize it, except maybe the performance aspect is like, wow, my reports run a lot faster. But again, from an Excel or EPM add-in perspective, that functionality exists, remains the same. It's not like a big jump when we're moving from 7.5 to 10. If any of you go back that far where there was a new reporting interface, nothing like that is occurring from 10 or 10.1 to 11. It's just more of some enhancements, capabilities that they provide for you now with the new version. This is just a slide that it was, there were some test cases that were done within the SAP labs just to kind of show the difference in the improvement between, running off of, say, BPC Microsoft models and running off of BPC 11 models. Obviously a huge query performance improvement, which is going to lend to your faster report refreshes, being able to submit data either through templates or data manager, data import, faster times for that, as well as when we're talking about scripting, allocation engines, those type of things. All in all, there is a significant increase in performance that obviously helps you get your job done faster, helps you get into analyzing numbers and not waiting for numbers to finalize. So those are all, again, from a performance standpoint, I just wanted to point that out a little bit further in detail, so you understand what the optimized performance really can be for BPC 11. And just going back to the other point around visualizations, enhanced visualizations. This is, I just like to point out, again, with the integration that I have with Analytics Cloud, this is an example of an Analytics Cloud dashboard. This is something that companies are definitely jumping on because Analytics Cloud is relatively inexpensive. And it's, you turn on the tenant, you have now a web-based application, and very quickly because of the integration, you can import your BPC models and run dashboards. This is something that, we experimented with, a year or two ago with the whole integration process, and, we were building these dashboards, in a couple hours. It's really that easy and self-service type tool. So, again, because it has that integration capability with BPC, where I can easily say, okay, let's pull in all my data from my BPC model, and now let's throw together some dashboards. Now you've got pretty neat and slick looking views for your executive management to review, and kind of going even a step further from there. With the Analytics Cloud, not just the visualizations, but you also have the extension of BPC. I really look at Analytics Cloud as the extension of BPC. So kind of taking another example of, in the past, some existing BPC customers may have had 200, 300 BPC licenses, in large part because they may have a sales organization, they may have cost center managers. These individuals that maybe are only utilizing BPC for a short amount of time to provide, forecasts or plans on their volumes, or cost center managers have to provide budgeted expenses. So those type of things, in the past have been BPC licenses. In this case, again, because Analytics Cloud can be that extension of BPC and there is that integration, you can have a web-based application go out to your sales organization. So you can have BPC now become really your corporate finance or your centralized finance group for all your financial reporting, for all the detailed planning, such as your volumes, your pricing, your, again, your expenses from a cost center perspective. All of that can be provided, kind of the vehicle being the web-based application where those users can use Analytics Cloud, and all of that sent back to BPC now for the corporate finance to be able to provide that reporting, that analysis. So very much so is BPC 11 also working in tandem with Analytics Cloud for that extension of the planning, that capability. So just wanted to kind of share that and how that works together with BPC 11, certainly both being, cloud deployments. So let's talk a little bit about technical upgrades. So what does this mean? I'm a BPC Microsoft user. My company uses BPC Microsoft. What does this mean for us? I know that, you've probably heard the stories that there will not be a Microsoft platform going forward. That in fact is true. And, but what does that mean? Hey, we're a company that loves using BPC. We have 100 users that are trained and use it every day. We're not looking to start over and to learn a new solution or a new tool set. We would like to continue utilizing BPC and the functionality and capabilities that it has. What does that mean for us? And so that's kind of this next section really is where it's going is BPC 11 with the cloud deployment. Okay. So just kind of, the picture, as far as where it's going, obviously it will be maintained only. The mainstream SAP support will end in 2020 for version 10, just about 2 years. And then we have 10.1, which is a little bit further out at the end of 2022. But, so when we look at it from an SAP perspective, all future innovations are going to be built on this SAP BW for HANA. SAP doesn't want to have to probably maintain two different infrastructures, two different platforms. This really allows them to focus and put their investment into one infrastructure that's going to, outperform legacy databases. And so really BPC, Microsoft are in maintenance only, and everything has really converged into this new product, which is the BPC 11, sitting on top of BW for HANA. As I mentioned before, it can be hosted by a number of providers. So you can have, again, partners, your hosting providers that actually uses kind of the infrastructure as a service model. So you don't have that technical management. You no longer will have to worry about the management around the platform itself. That will be handled by your hosting provider. We partner with a company called Pacific Cloud Services. We've partnered with them in kind of a migration path to move companies from BPC Microsoft over onto BPC 11 version for the BW for HANA. So we work very closely with them. This is an example of that hosting partner that will kind of be that end-to-end support for you. So again, working with them is kind of what we do, especially for the Microsoft customers that are looking at, trying to migrate to BPC 11, looking to migrate to BPC 11, and really wanting to know what the next steps are. We partner with Pacific Cloud and in turn, create kind of this seamless migration from Microsoft over to BPC 11 into the cloud deployment. So, kind of from a migration cheat sheet, if you, again, kind of looking at not necessarily just Microsoft, because it's not, I look at, there's a migration tool that's been established between Pacific Cloud, or you may hear the acronym PCS, but Pacific Cloud and Simplify kind of working with a migration tool to really be able to seamlessly get your environment stood up within a week. But with the BPC on HANA, your NetWeaver versions, those as well, those are as far as the migration goes, is a little bit simpler. Those are things that we look at to make sure that you are on NetWeaver 10.1 before we can restore, but that is more of a being able to migrate the environment and be able to basically just restore it onto the BPC 11. Microsoft obviously has different structures on SQL Server, requires us to do a bit more in terms of the migration path there. But most of the items will be covered within the migration tool that we use. There will be different syntaxes, when we look at things like script logic, dimension formulas. When we move from a Microsoft platform to BPC 11, there are differences. We should expect some differences. They're not, they're not huge by any means, but there are differences in which we have to change the syntax and then, obviously do the testing around that. So again, just kind of a snapshot of what the different objects within your BPC models and what that means for migrating over to BPC 11. Okay, so as far as product comparison, again, we took 3 comparable products or solutions. This is a real life example that we had done for one of our clients. This gets brought up actually, like I mentioned, probably in the last year and a half, companies have started to have more interest, and they want to look towards the future and understand what's going to be the next path, since there's no longer going to be upgrades on that Microsoft platform. What does that mean for them? So many times we are doing product comparisons. We do have experienced staff that within our Simplify group that allows us to kind of help in the evaluation process so that companies can understand. So we will take comparable products like SAP, Oracle, OneStream, and we'll show them and kind of show them the differences. Because quite honestly, we do get asked, if there's no more BPC Microsoft platform, then, why wouldn't I just evaluate a whole new solution? Many times companies don't want to do that because they already have that skill set in BPC. But nonetheless, the question comes up. And so, we're here to help and assist with that assessment. So just kind of going back real fast. So just to kind of set the stage, some of these estimates and the next couple slides are really just what we would consider an average size customer, 1 to 2 billion, 50 users. It's kind of, again, what we benchmark as maybe our average size customer. So we've got some understanding of, we took 3 different products, BPC 11, you've got like your Oracle Cloud Solution, OneStream, which is also a on-prem or cloud solution. Product capabilities between the 3 solutions, they kind of stack up. At the end of the day, you can pretty much do your consolidations and your planning and reporting within the tools. There's separate license, as far as licensing, I'll talk about shortly. With Oracle, there's separate licensing between consolidations and planning. But at the end of the day, the solutions themselves have the functionality that is going to exist for you for the consolidations, for the planning, similar to what you would have with BPC. Looking at kind of a 5-year, again, this is just an estimate, something that we have provided for a customer in doing our research. Kind of looking at a 5-year infrastructure cost with the BPC 11. This is an example of 50 users or so. You're probably somewhere around the range of $60K per year. There, I have to check. There used to be a one-time fee of migrating or upgrading from BPC version to BPC 11. So like BPC Microsoft to BPC 11 would also be a one-time $1,000 upcharge per user. So I'm not sure if that's still valid or not, to be honest with you, but I think that is still the case. I know in past, when there would be future releases, that as long as you're paying your annual maintenance fee, the upgrades are free. So this is just kind of a one-time upcharge moving to the BW for HANA platform. You can see Oracle is fairly close, and the OneStream actually is the difference in Oracle is that there are separate licenses for the planning and consolidation, which bumps up the pricing a little bit. OneStream actually comes in a little bit less because, again, they're all pretty much comparable as the annual infrastructure as a service fee is concerned. There's just some other, incremental costs here and there. OneStream just doesn't have the incremental one-time fees or anything like that. It's just basically what your SaaS fee is going to be. Again, this is a little bit skewed because here's where I'm pointing out that if you're going to upgrade to BPC 11, as I was working with this client, upgrading to BPC 11 is lower in implementation fees. Right? We're basically able to use a migration tool. We're able to migrate everything over. And in addition to that, that estimate includes enhancements, but more, again, assuming that this is a complex client that has lots of different logic scripts, lots of different driver-based planning, things that would require us to do some significant work, lots of data integration that would require some rework on that part. So, we've looked at everything as small as, $50,000 to move them onto BPC 11 for very, simple kind of lift and shift, and companies don't have, they're not utilizing it for detailed driver-based planning. For more of those simplistic models, it's going to be far less than that. But this is, again, just kind of looking at that average customer that has, again, a pretty involved BPC landscape in terms of models, planning, consolidation, kind of the full boat there. The other implementation fees are obviously, they're brand new. This implementation, it's design, it's, kind of going through the full full implementation cycle again, using a new solution such as Oracle or OneStream. So that definitely will add up in addition, versus not having to learn an entire new solution, more of a lift and shift, and migration approach to the BPC 11. And then just kind of from ongoing resource requirements, this is, again, admins, you typically probably have one admin. You'll have one admin. If you were to use OneStream, Oracle might have one admin for consolidations, one admin for planning. The reality is you probably have an admin and a backup, but the point is that kind of, again, from a total cost of ownership perspective, you will have to staff more individuals using the Oracle solution than the others. And then the company facts, kind of, again, from a product comparison, is that obviously, again, SAP and Oracle stack up next to each other. They are large, incredibly large, stable vendors. OneStream is a smaller vendor. So again, kind of looking at and evaluating and assessing different solutions. They are a smaller vendor. They're focused on the EPM space. So they've got some benefits on that side. But again, SAP, Oracle, they are more on the stable side. They offer a whole suite of different products. So, they definitely will have future investment on cloud solutions. But again, just kind of looking at just overall the company facts, those are kind of the highlights I would say that I would point out. I'm running out of time here. I won't go into much detail. I mean, the last point, it was just, to explain. Usually we do this in the beginning, but, why simplify? Why, if you are questioning, you do have questions, you do want to help with evaluating or assessing what's going to be the best solution for you, whether you're migrating to BPC 11 or exploring other options. Again, we are experienced in kind of helping customers do that. We are a preferred partner for SAP. Our team is staffed with CPAs and MBAs. We are, we go back 10, 13 years, most of us, in terms of working with BPC, both on the corporate side as well as consulting. So again, I feel like our team is very qualified. If you are looking, if your company is looking at making a decision, trying to understand, what is it going to take to get our models off of BPC Microsoft or even off of BPC NetWeaver onto BPC 11, we'd love to help you understand, what that would take, what the costs associated with that would be, so that you're fully ready when the time comes to make that decision to migrate or, again, explore different options. So should you have questions, I know Lauren will be reaching out to many of you. We'll be sharing our contact information via email, but here is my contact information as well as Lauren's contact information, as well as our website should you have any information or questions for us.
Thanks, Beth. Great presentation and demo. And for those of you who joined late, again, if you're interested in attending SAP Financials coming up March 19th to 21st in Vegas, please message us in the questions box and let us know that you're interested. We'll be drawing names after the webinar concludes, and we'll let you know if you won one of the free badges. So thanks so much, and don't forget to do that if you're interested. Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll be in touch soon. Please reach out with any questions.
Thanks, Lauren, and thanks everyone. Have a nice day.